If you thought the war was between Russia and Ukraine, think again. This is a war between Vladimir Putin and everyone else who does not agree with him. Who will win? Will this materialize into another world war? I don't know, but Dr. Jordan Peterson has a few thoughts. It's been a devastating couple of months for Ukraine since Russia invaded Kiev, the capital city, on the 24th of February 2022. The war didn't just start, though. This is an escalation of the teeming violence that began in 2014. On the 17th of July 2014, a flight carrying 298 people was shot down by rebels. The battle that ensued was between the Ukrainian army and the rebels, supported by the Russian army. Eventually, both parties agreed on a ceasefire, and the Minsk Accord was born. But since then, much of the Minsk Accord remains unimplemented. Vladimir Putin has said a lot about what his reasons are for displacing millions of Ukrainians and devastating their city. He claimed that his aim is to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine. But we all know that what he wants to do is put Ukraine under subjection once again to Russia. Once upon a time, Ukraine was not an autonomous state. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Ukraine became an independent state. It would, however, appear that there are some who believe Ukraine should not be an independent state, and especially not a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, and Vladimir Putin is at the forefront of this movement. The question of the moment is, will we win the war against Vladimir Putin? Dr. Jordan Peterson believes that there can be no winning for us, and this is the first perspective I'd like to share. In his words, we can't win against Vladimir Putin, because how can we win against someone that we can't say no to? Dr. Peterson says that we've sold our soul for oil and gas from Russia, and as a result, we've lost our say in how this war will turn out. He believes that Vladimir holds the ace. The second perspective Dr. Jordan Peterson brings to the table is quite an interesting one, and I can't help but agree. In an interview with Piers Morgan, Dr. Jordan Peterson is asked how he thinks the war will end and if he thinks we're going to win. In response, Dr. Peterson says, notions that Russia will lose or that we're going to win are naive. According to him, if eventually Russia does retreat from Ukraine, it would still be a loss, and Putin might be able to manage the situation much better than we thought. He would just tell Russians that they've accomplished their objective of devastating Ukraine and keeping it out of the hands of the West, even if they had to retreat. Dr. Peterson says that Putin's endgame for failure is that Ukraine is left in a smoking ruin, and regardless of whether they retreat or not, they would have accomplished that. And I think Dr. Peterson's insights are pretty profound, especially regarding the devastation of Ukraine. Thousands of Ukrainians have lost their lives since the war started in 2014. Major cities destroyed and thousands displaced. How exactly will this end? Should Ukraine then give in to Russia? Well, I don't want them to, but we must ask the important questions. When will this end? And at what cost? When asked if he believes this would escalate into a world war, Dr. Peterson shares the third insight, and that's a no. He does not believe that this would result in a world war. According to him, this wouldn't result in a world war because the world would simply not respond. What's in it for the rest of the world? And this is so true. At the end of the day, Ukraine is under attack, not the rest of the world, and countries would just rather stay out of it for fear of inciting the wrath of Russia and a host of other reasons. When asked if he thinks Vladimir would use a nuclear weapon, he responded, Vladimir would use a tactical battlefield weapon, if necessary. Well, there you have it, Dr. Jordan Peterson's insights on how this war will end. Of course, you must remember that these are his opinions and not necessarily how things will play out. See you soon. Don't forget to like, share, and comment.